Welcome to the Walk Thru with 5-Star Preps, the ultimate weekly live show that dives deep into the heart of high school football right here in East Tennessee. Powered by Triple F Training. Train like a pro. Each week, Jesse Smithey and the 5-Star Prep team takes you beyond the gridiron and into the stories that define Fall Friday nights in the hills of the Great Smoky Mountains. From the thrilling touchdowns to the hard-hitting tackles and the unsung heroes who make every game unforgettable, we've got it all covered. Join Jesse Smithey as he breaks down this week's biggest games, highlights the standout performances, and gives you the most comprehensive high school football coverage in East Tennessee. Now, catch us live on the Walk Thru, presented by Triple F Training.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome into week 3 of the Walk Thru, presented by Triple F. I'm Paige Dauer, alongside 5-Star Preps Jesse Smithey. We got a nice new background this week.
We do. We moved the setting here in Triple F. This is the part that my son loves. Big basketball geek. You'll probably see him running around in the background tonight. Just so many different facets to this facility here at Triple F, and been here over a year out off of Pellissippi, right there between Knoxville and Oak Ridge. And Lee Smith and his staff do a phenomenal job. Love partnership with them. 5-Star Preps, we're really selective about who we sponsor with, and if there's a reason why we're with Triple F, it's the amount of passion and love that they pour into their athletes. And you'll see them out here tonight working out behind us, doing band stretches and working them out, and it's just all day long, it seems like, out here treating and caring for the community.
Yeah, it is active here at all hours of the day, regardless of when we're here. I want to look back to week 2 before we jump into week 3, because there were a couple of crazy finishes. If we want to start by Loudoun and Lenoir City, a couple of penalties going against Lenoir City, and then, they try and get 2 field goals in a row. They do so with 7.5 seconds left, and then that last penalty ends up having a field goal attempt that is no good. Loudon ends up winning. I mean,
Lenoir City the entire night, they're up there on the scoreboard. They're up 6-0. They're sort of in control of this rivalry. Loudon got into the red zone, I think, 3 times. Empty trips. They finally got one on the board, took a 7-6 lead. And Paige, Lenoir City's quarterback, took a beating all night. And in that final drive, he's holding his rib cage. He's limping. I mean, it was like a Rocky fight. I mean, they're just
going at each other.
Throwing haymakers, even though they could barely stand up. And that young man led Lenoir City down the field, got him into field goal range. And then, as you mentioned, there were penalty issues. There were clock resetting delays. That's hard for any kicker to endure, let alone a high school kid.
Right. And completely ices them out.
And the kick, who knows if it would have been good on that 3rd attempt. Loudon broke through on the line, got a hand up and blocked it, and won that football game 7-6. And that was just the start of crazy things to come in high school football on Friday night.
Yeah, because the other one was Bearden and Alcoa. I mean, week 1, Bearden went to triple overtime, and we talked about in the first week about the schedule that they're going to have this season. Okay, well, they met it in week 2 against Alcoa. That game coming down to the very end as well.
I don't know how Bearden fans are going to survive this season. I mean, it's just a lot of meditation, a lot of calming, whatever teas or whatever you want to use to calm your frazzled nerves. And look, we talked on last week's show about how they had their heart broken in 2023 at Alcoa and how that game went down. It seemed like a different chapter was going to be written this time around. They had the game-winning touchdown. DJ Hunter has a long run, gets them into scoring territory. He has to come out of the game, cramp or some issue. Drew Parrott comes in. It's going to be the Cinderella story. He was the quarterback for so many years at Bearden. He comes in, leads them to a touchdown drive, and then they go for 2. And who scores it? Drew Parrott runs around left end, dives for the pylon. It's a close call. He gets it. People are going nuts, and that's the problem. Some people got on the field, celebration flag that moved the kickoff back. It was kind of a high arching kickoff. Alcoa returns it to the 23.
Eli Graff.
I mean, Mr. Do-It-All for Alcoa. And then Kieran Tyson. The Tyson family is almost synonymous with Alcoa football, more so from a running back perspective, never really a kicker.
Okay.
And then Kieran Tyson, 40-yard field goal. I tweeted it would have been good from 55.
Yeah, that was an
They
insane
win the
kick.
game 24-22. So it was just an exhausting 2 weeks of football. And Bearden's got another wild one on Friday night at Anderson County. Fireworks masked. I mean,
The emotional roller coaster they must be going on specifically. I don't know how you get through the first half of the season.
Yeah, we'll get into that game a little bit, but yeah,
yes.
just those two games that we just talked about are the lasting impressions for me of week 2.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, of course, with the new week, you have your new top 12. For the most part, many of those teams have stayed in the same position. I was skeptical about Maryville being at 1, but they're 2-0 on the year. Price Davis continues to be the rock to that team. I guess just to start with your number 1, just what have you liked most about Maryville so far?
Everything we have been supposed to, I guess, we're supposed to see out of Maryville, they've been doing.
Yeah.
Running the football, executing complementary pass game, playing extremely good defense. I think they held Central to 34 yards of offense Friday night.
Yeah.
Now, Central's quarterback got hurt in that game. That helped contribute to that. But Maryville's just been what Maryville's supposed to be in 6A. As you mentioned, Price Davis, I think he had 140 yards rushing, 3 touchdowns last week.
He did, yeah.
Everything is just status quo, what you want to see out of your number 1 team.
Yeah, and then when we go further down the list, pretty much everyone else stays the same in that front half, but Sevier County makes a nice move to number 7. What gave you confidence in moving them up 1?
Yeah, just how they played in that win over Jefferson County. We talked last week about Jefferson County making the big jump from like number 12 in our rankings up to maybe number 7.
Yeah.
And Sevier County got that win over them, and they ran the football extremely well with Tegan Rivera and that offensive line. No shock there. Cooper Newman, the sophomore quarterback who we've talked about so much, I think he was 17 of 20 throwing the football in that game. That's insane.
Yeah.
Just delivering a lot of big time passes, some gutsy play calls in that game went Sevier County's way. So I feel like on the whole, they're definitely moving up in everybody's opinion in Class 5A.
Yeah, and then when we get to the bottom last 2 in your top 12, what I found is interesting with Oak Ridge, obviously they're just 0-1. They didn't have their week 2 game. Despite not having a win yet, what keeps them in the top 12?
The overall potential of that team. We're still in the early phases of the season where I put teams in our rankings based off their potential.
Yeah.
And once we get week 5, week 6, you are what you are. Your identity's pretty clear, but we still haven't seen enough of this Oak Ridge to say, oh, you're 0-1, get out of here. You look at their quarterbacks, the receivers, their running backs. There's still a lot of jumps in their play that we're going to see, I think, in the next couple of weeks. Now, if they go on the road this week and lose at Powell, then you probably will see them scoot outside the top 12 for a little bit. But I still think come November, Oak Ridge is going to be a player in this thing. Yeah,
and the last one in the top 12 is Webb, who's 1-1. Just what are we thinking about Webb right now? I think you reported that they lost their backup quarterback, I guess, to the quote transfer portal.
Elias, he left and he went to Overton, which is in Nashville. But I think Webb might have had an off week last week. I can't remember, but we're still, again, same thing with Oak Ridge. I mean, we're still learning about them, and again, did not like what I saw out of them defensively in week 1, and so this Friday night will be a true test for them and see what adjustments they've made.
Yeah, the potential will start to go out the door, and it's soon to be reality.
Sure, absolutely.
But the reality of last week was a number of great players that really showed up last week. A couple of those player of the weeks, which of course you guys can vote for on the bottom part of 5starpreps.com. Make your vote there. But let's talk about a couple of them. Terrion Thompson from Grace, a couple of his stats I'll read to you. He had 26 carries for 155 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 40 receiving yards. He did it all.
When the coaches start texting you after the game, hey, Terrion played great, that means, hey, we need to get this kid some love.
Yes.
And so he's a guy, wears number 6 out there for Grace, and we've seen him in our jamborees and certain other preseason things. We're kind of waiting on him to have that big breakout moment. And he's had good games in the past. Yeah. But this might have been the game for him that says, hey, something special is launching with him. And to be able to do it within the offense, that's exactly what Grace Christian needs at this point.
Yeah, and you've given Greenville's quarterback Carson Quillen quite a bit of attention these first couple of weeks. What kind of keeps him in rotation of conversation right now?
Yeah, just the amount of rushing yards that he's putting up is pretty phenomenal. And everybody knows Carson for being a Virginia Tech baseball commitment, but he's really, really good at football. He's an all-state football player. He's been all-state in the past. Probably going to be all-state this year, barring any kind of injury. So over 200 yards rushing in that win last week, and just
3 touchdowns.
Yeah, just a monster performance.
Yeah, it definitely was. Another potential player of the week was Jody Scruggs from Carter. He had 4 receptions, 161 yards, and a pair of touchdowns.
Yeah, and as their coaching staff told me, this is his first game back from an MCL injury or surgery.
Yes.
And so usually with your first game back, you're kind of tentative. You don't want to give it
snaps, maybe.
Yeah, limited snaps. But I mean, dude went out there in 160 yards. Receiving in multiple touchdowns, so hats off to Jody Scruggs.
Yeah, and the one that rounds out the group is Caden Filippo from Heritage.
Yeah.
what did we like maybe from his performance?
Freshman putting up 150 yards and what, maybe 2 or 3 touchdowns?
Yeah, he got 3 touchdowns as well and 13 rushes.
Freshman varsity records out there at Heritage. They're really excited about him, and a lot of people will get to see him on Thursday night in that big rivalry game against William Blount. So nice start for his prep career.
Yeah, well, we have so much more to get into in our walk through for week 3. But running right now is the Alcoa and Bearden game, which was, again, like we mentioned, some great highlights from that. So enjoy that as we come to break, and join us when we come back on the other side.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
Yeah, I primarily play offensive line. I started left tackle, and the coaches don't really throw me in anywhere else, but I play a little bit of D-line here and there.
To be a swing guy like that, is that a point of pride for you, knowing that you can fill any role and learn different responsibilities?
Yeah, that was one of my goals this offseason, was to get more versatile. So I've been working on snapping, been working on, pass setting with my right leg, right-handed stance, run blocking, just working both sides because I wanted to be a versatile guy.
Now, you can correct me if I'm wrong, did I see a social media video of you running?
Yeah, you did. So that was at a track meet, and we did the big man 4x1, which is like all the throwers from the schools. It was at our county meet, and I was running on the track. I think I was moving.
Yeah.
Back into the week 3 walkthrough. That video you just watched there is from Sevier County's big man relay. Otto left a lasting impression on you.
He did. Otto was all 5-star preps as a junior last year.
Okay.
So we knew the name Otto Jan van Rensburg, and at Media Day this summer, you were there, and I interviewed Otto. I was like, look, man, your name is a mouthful. I need an official pronunciation. His family's from South Africa, so we knew he was talented, all region. I think he only gave up 1 sack last year. He only had 1 penalty last year. So, of course, he's first team all 5-star preps. But then I saw that video in the spring that he tweeted out. It just said, hey, had a little fun today. And you see big dude just balling down
like 200 meters or something.
I couldn't beat that guy. And so he's going to MTSU. And that's one thing I've learned in journalism is how fast college offensive linemen really are. They're around 5.0 in the 40, which doesn't sound so fast because of people like Tyreek Hill of the world, but it's really, really fast.
But that's almost faster than Tom Brady.
For a 300 pounder that's 6'3", and so Otto's right around there, 4'9", 5'0". He's going to MTSU, and there are a lot of people think that guy has, and this is no knock on MTSU, but there's a lot of people in this area that think that he could possibly play at a bigger school than that someday. So who knows, maybe he 3 years transfer portal guy, I don't know, but maybe he finds a great home to MTSU and stays there his whole career.
Yeah, well, that was a great video. I want to turn our attention now to week 3, starting with, a couple of preview games that we want to look at. One being Heritage and William Blount. We look at all time, and it's 14-13 in Heritage's favor. So it's a very close rivalry between these two teams. Yeah, so
it's called the Battle of the Bell, and if you've never been to one, there's a big bell on the sideline, and it's all painted up and everything like that, and it's a lot of pageantry, and sometimes this game gets overshadowed in Blount County just because of Maryville and Alcoa's rivalry, but I'm glad that they've kind of separated this out, moved it away. It used to be, I think sometimes it used to be the same week as Maryville Alcoa, which was a shame. So now it's kind of in its own spotlight this week, and people will get to see how special and how heated that rivalry is. William Blount won it last year, 29-28.
Yep.
Really tightly contested ball game. And it's kind of flip-flopped over the last couple of years. Coach Osavet, who's come into Heritage, has put a lot of passion and energy into that program. He does not like losing to the rival, even though he didn't really grow up from here. But he's implanted that thought process of we do not lose to William Blount. And so that matters to these kids. And so you're seeing a lot more parity over the last 3 or 4 years because of just the mindset that he's bringing into this game.
Yeah, between the current head coaches too, they're split 1-1. Another one, Bearden again on the list of big games. They'll be facing Anderson County. But Bearden won last year 45-27, an all-time record. It's in favor of Bearden 6-3.
Yeah, I mean, you're looking at 6A Bearden versus 4A Anderson County. And so the tail of the tape, you look at their athletes, and Bearden's probably got the edge in this one again for the second year in a row. But Anderson County did not have to play last week. They got on the bus, went all the way up to Science Hill. Inclement weather struck.
Yep.
After a while, they said, hey, we got to scrap it.
Yeah.
We're going to just kind of eat the losses for the bus rides up here and make it back. So they're going to come in a little bit fresher for not having played a 6A team in Science Hill that's really physical and athletic. So it gives them a little extra time to maybe even prepare for this game. So we'll see if that factors into this at all. But Bearden, I think they go into this game knowing that they can beat anybody. Yeah. They had Alcoa beat. They beat the 2-time defending state champion West. So they're not going to be intimidated by all the fireworks or all the pregame displays that Anderson County has are going to go up there and compete. And it's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of back and forth between Oak Ridge and Powell. So Oak Ridge lost 3 straight before winning last season in 2023. They won 35-21. Powell now has Connor Wheeler back. Didn't make much of a difference last week for Powell, but do you think that might be the difference maker and kind of how this rivalry shapes up this weekend?
Yeah, I think it's just a confidence factor with him, knowing that you have all your weapons.
Yeah.
I mean, he ran for what, 72 yards. He got into the end zone once, but just knowing that you're at full strength at this point in the season is big for Powell going into this game. As for Oak Ridge, I mean, we talked about them a little bit. What are we going to see out of them? They had a week off. Are there going to be some lineup changes? Are there going to be some offensive philosophy changes? Are we going to see a better completion percentage out of the pass game?
Yeah.
So there are a lot more question marks right now with Oak Ridge going into this game rather than Powell.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And then we have this other segment now that we're kind of learning these teams and they're starting to kind of show what they're going to look like this season. And it's kind of like what we need to see from some of these guys. One of them being Jaden Neal, getting maybe more reps at that quarterback position. Kind of maybe allude on what you mean by that.
Yeah, so Jaden Neal is the all-time leading passer at Catholic High School. And he went out to 7-on-7, the Josh Heupel 7-on-7 in June. That's at Sutherland Avenue and all those intramural fields. And he's out there with, you know, his leg in a boot and up on one of the scooters. And so he's clearly had some type of off-season procedure. We figure out he's going to be fine by week 1. Well, week 1 went along, no Jaden Neal. Week 2 went along. We're starting to see him dress out, get on the field a little bit. And so I put that in there as like, is this going to be the week? Is this going to be the week that we see Jaden Neal return to the field? Mac Bartholomew, the quarterback at Catholic, has played marvelously through 2 weeks for Catholic. They're 2-0. He's putting up numbers, making big plays. So it's going to be interesting to see how the Catholic coaches handle that transition when Jaden comes back. Do they just immediately hand over the steering wheel, or do they just kind of work him in here and there, series by series, and see who has the hot hand that night?
How different is the offense with Jaden and at quarterback?
Yeah, I mean, not too much. Neither one is like super like dual threat guy. I mean, Jaden's a little bit more mobile and has, I think, more experience on the varsity level than Mac, who I believe is just a sophomore.
Yeah.
So just that mental edge that he brings to the field is certainly a big feather in the cap for the Catholic coaching staff. But if it were me, I think we kind of slowly see Jaden work in, because the big games are yet to come. This is a game against Winter Haven, Florida. It doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
So it's an opportunity for them to kind of get him some reps.
Yeah. When we talked in the first segment with your top 12, we mentioned Webb being at that number 12 spot. They're also a team that you want to see more from on both sides of the ball. I guess if there was an area that you would want to address first, is it on offense or is it on defense?
I think it's got to be defense, right? They gave up 68 points in week 1. We're not used to Webb giving up 68 points in any football game. And so for me, what I want to see out of Webb in week 3 is improvement there. Are there changes that they've made, again, in their personnel and how they defend? We were very high on their secondary coming into the year, like a lot of people were.
Yeah.
But they did have some key losses to graduation in the linebacking department and even up front on that defensive line. So we'll see. That's one of the things I'm going to be keeping an eye on in week 3.
And something that might not be as glaring as these other, things that you want to see is Bearden when it comes to their offensive line. They didn't have a ton of returning starters on either side of the ball. They got 6 new linemen. What kind of an impact do you think that's making, and maybe is that why they're in all of these close games through 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about Brody Smith leaving Bearden and going out to Maryville, and so one of the things I wanted to put on there for Bearden is there's this rumor, and we don't know if it's true or not, but there's this big 6'7" lineman coming from the Memphis area that we're waiting. Is he going to play in this game against Anderson County? And he goes by Big Junior.
Okay.
So Big Junior is 6'7", 300 pounds, has offers from everybody, it seems like, or interest from everybody. And so you inject that guy into your starting lineup by the midpoint of the season. What does Bearden really look like? So that's one of the things I want to keep an eye on in that week 3 is this guy legit? Is he here? Is he going to be playing against Anderson County?
Yeah, and he definitely needs the help because, again, they do not have many returners on either side. And when you got that new quarterback in the system, too, and DJ Hunter, it could be nice to have a new transfer in there. We're going to head to break, but when we come back, we have got so much more to talk about, especially the Waffle House win-loss projections. We'll be right back after this.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.
They honored you tonight, your 500th game here at Central High School. You just told me your first year was 1982, so you've been doing this for quite a while. Why have you done this for so long?
I just, I enjoy high school football, and I've watched a lot of movies and, Friday Night Lights, and, you really get into it and stuff and everything, and I just enjoy it. It's just, it's fun to be around the other teams that you play, and I've enjoyed it all these years. I've been blessed to be on the sideline all these years too.
Yes, sir. Yeah, you've been here for so long. You've seen so much with this football program. Are there any games or players or coaches that really stick out to you?
I think the best year I've ever been around was in 2018 when we won the first state championship in school history. The head coach was Bryson Rosser, and I thought that was amazing because we had to go back on a Sunday and play the game because it was a weather delay the night before.
Yes,
so it was fun doing that. I think that's one of the best things I've ever been around.
Yeah. Just watching before the game, you were saying hey and talking to so many people, and so many people were happy to see you. You obviously love doing this stuff. Is this something you feel like you could just kind of do forever?
Well, there'll be a time where, my body will say, hey, it's time to go, it's time to quit, and I'll walk away from it. And I don't know when that's going to be and stuff, so,
Welcome back into the Walk Through Week 3 presented by Triple F. This segment, we're going to talk a little bit about your predictions for the win and loss. Your record last week was okay.
It's getting better. Week 1 was a dumpster fire for me pick-wise. Week 2, we're seeing
We're trending in the right direction, which is what we want. We're getting 1% better every day.
Once I get about 3 or 4 weeks in, I can really see okay, I know what this team is now.
Yes.
So a couple early weeks are tricky.
Yeah, so we'll look at our Waffle House win-loss predictions. We've got Bearden, Anderson County. We kind of alluded to them and talked about them a little bit earlier in the show. Where do you see this one going?
Yeah, I like where Bearden is confidence-wise. Even though they lost that game against Alcoa, again, I feel like they know they can beat anybody they can handle. They've seen anything and everything thrown at them adversity-wise, whether it's by their own causing or things that's happened to them. So I think getting away from Bearden, getting onto different sidelines, will kind of refocus them, I like them in this game, and it's partly because of kind of some things that we did here at Triple F over the summer. We did a combine series, and so I'm thinking about all that data that Rich from Triple F told me about how athletic Bearden was. They're a 6A school. I think they're just a little bit more edge in the athletics department or athleticism department. So I'm going to take Bearden in this football game.
Another one is Gatlinburg-Pittman at Carter. It's been in Carter's favor for much of the rivalry. It's a brief rivalry, but it's always in Carter's favor. Is it the same thing with the new head coaches on both sides?
This was a shocking win by Carter last year. They went on the road to GP, a GP team that had Division I wide receivers, that was loaded. I mean, this is one of the better GP teams that we'd seen in a while, and Carter went down there and won by 20, 49-29. Now things are a little unstable at GP right now. Head coach Tyler Williams has lost his brother to a fight with cancer, so definitely praying for Tyler Williams and that community and his family. And then I get text message the other day when the torrential rains came, it's flooded their field. The turf at GP is all askew, and even though that game's at Carter, it's just everything's just kind of jumbled up. And so I wonder where GP is mentally just kind of going into this game. And Carter's got a lot of feel-good momentum after that win last week. We talked about Jody Scruggs coming back, and now they're at full strength. So I like Carter in this game just because I feel like confidence-wise and just stability-wise, they might be just on a little bit better footing. But who knows? Maybe all this that's happened to GP rallies them. I mean, we've seen stuff like that happen. They really have a great running back in Braden Maples, and maybe they ride him to a victory. But I got Carter in a tight one.
Yeah, they definitely play for their head coach quite hard, too. He's
sure.
been part of the program for a while. West at Farragut. So it's in favor of West in the rivalry. There's only 3 ties, but it's a 1-win margin in West's favor.
Yeah.
West needs this win, but so too does Farragut.
Yeah, Farragut's 0-2, and we probably didn't expect that. They were competitive week 1. Kind of got blown out last week against Powell. Well, Farragut has 2 really good wide receivers, Landon Collins and Robbie Jacobs. So you got to keep an eye on them. But West has some really good defensive backs as well. So how will that negate what Farragut does offensively on Friday night? With West, still want to see some progression out of the pass game department, but with all those running backs that they have, you're definitely going to lean on them. This is a great rivalry game. I love going to West and Farragut. Maybe doesn't get the publicity that it deserves, but I always try to find a way to make it out to this game because it usually delivers.
Yeah, and West has won the last 5, so I would assume this would be a West W this year.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I like West to win this football game just because, but if you're looking for a game to go to on Friday night, head out to Farragut and check that one out.
Yeah, that'll be a good one for sure. And then we have Oliver Springs at Harmon. So Harmon is 35-22 all time against Oliver Springs.
Yeah, this is a sneaky good game, and people are like, why are y'all picking this? Harriman's 2-0. Remember last week we talked about Grayson Chris being a Player of the Week nominee. Well, last week he went off yet again. Harriman community, when their football team is going, I mean, they get pretty fired up. Oliver Springs coming off of a loss to Kingston. Maybe Harriman smells blood in the water a little bit.
Maybe.
I don't know. It's going to be a fired up kind of 1A football type of environment down there in Harriman on Friday night. That being said, Oliver Springs still one of the best teams in the state in 1A. They have state title aspirations. They have a roster that I think is a little bit more complete than Harriman. So I'm going to take Oliver Springs to win this football game. But 5-Star Preps will be at that game on Friday night. It's going to be bonkers down in Harriman. Can't wait to see everybody.
Yeah, the fans better show out for that one because also, according to my records, Oliver Springs has won 11 of the last 12 despite losing a year ago. So it does seem like it might swing back into Oliver Springs' behavior or favor. They'll behave well there. Oak Ridge at Powell. So all time it's 8-6 in Oak Ridge's favor, but they've kind of not had the best start to their season, obviously off last week. Do we see them taking advantage of Powell and getting a win on the road?
Here's the thing with Oak Ridge. If they go into Powell Friday night and they put up, say, 14 points in the first quarter and get that immediate confidence, then they can stick around and win that football game. But confidence-wise, going in this game, Powell's much more confident in its abilities and where it's at as a football team as opposed to Oak Ridge. Oak Ridge had that rough start on the road at Jefferson County in week 1. They lose that football game, and then you just take off. You have an off week in week 2. Sometimes when you have that bad game, you just need to get back out there, kind of wash that taste out of your mouth, fix what needs to be fixed, and move on. They've had to stew over that, think about things for 2 weeks. That can be good, that can be bad. So we'll see where they are mentally early on in that football game. I like Powell to win this football game. I think Connor Wheeler gets his wheels turning even more, maybe gets over 100 yards rushing. We'll see. But I got Powell winning this football game.
Yeah, I think I like that pick too. Kind of really getting some of that dust off a week ago, back to his contributing ways this week. So that was our Waffle House win-loss segment. But now I kind of maybe just want to take a sneak peek at next week. A couple of games
big time
that are of good importance. We've got Greenville at Alcoa. That's going to be a good game.
Yeah, I mean that has all the star power, all the shine, just on the marquee. We were excited about it last year, and I don't know if you remember what happened. It was up in Greenville. That game got wiped out. Weather. It was kind of a knotted game. Alcoa was starting to build some momentum.
Right? Yeah.
Alcoa was starting to build some momentum. Looked like they were going to kind of take control of that game, and then it just was a wash. And we didn't get to see those two titans of high school football in Tennessee go at it for 4 quarters. I need to see that this Friday night. And it's supposed to be rainy again, so hopefully that changes a little bit. But Greenville, Alcoa, big time matchup. It doesn't get any bigger than that.
A couple other ones. We have Innsworth at Catholic, CAK at Grace. Now, is that their first meeting, CAK and Grace?
No. They faced each other. Yeah,
okay.
They've played each other before, but Innsworth off to a really great start. This is a big time matchup for Catholic. They start getting into the throes of those big Division II AAA ball games that they need to win. So that'll be their first really true in-state test. And then for CAK Grace, it's just a really good small school, private school matchup here in Knox County, and it'll be a great atmosphere.
Our other one I've mentioned is West and Maryville, which that's always a great game as well.
Yeah, absolutely. You're talking about just state champions after state champions, Rebels versus Rebels, big-time community support versus big-time community support. There'll be a lot of people that turn out for that football game.
Yeah, absolutely. That'll be a good one to talk about next week. So that's all we've got for you guys today for our Walk Through Week 3 presented by Triple F. Thank you guys so much for joining us, and we will be back next week.
Welcome to the Walk Thru with 5 Star Preps, the ultimate weekly live show that dives deep into the heart of high school football right here in East Tennessee. Powered by Triple F Training. Train like a pro. Each week, Jesse Smithey and the 5 Star Prep team takes you beyond the gridiron and into the stories that define Fall Friday nights in the hills of the Great Smoky Mountains. From the thrilling touchdowns to the hard-hitting tackles and the unsung heroes who make every game unforgettable, we've got it all covered. Join Jesse Smithey as he breaks down this week's biggest games, highlights the standout performances, and gives you the most comprehensive high school football coverage in East Tennessee. Now, catch us live on The Walk Thru, presented by Triple F Training.
When you shop at Elliott's, your journey is our purpose.
North Knox Siding and Windows is a complete exterior home improvement company that can help you with all your exterior needs. Visit us today at 5618 North Broadway.